All right, what's up, everybody? We are on season 1, episode 2 of the Attack on Titan rewatch. The episode that is called That Day, actually, which of course I remember how cool that is. Looking back at the fact that there was a huge episode later on in season 3 that was called That Day. Although I think actually that in Japanese it was supposed to be somehow like the titles did differ, and now in English they don't. But whatever, I guess it's a detail that doesn't matter too much. But what a what a joyful experience it already is, revisiting the show from the start, knowing what I know now, being able to get extra details out of it, just, understanding already where characters are going to end up. And so, therefore, how awesome it is, for example, just to see Eren, Mikasa, and Armin, their personalities still being so in line with how they are later on. However, of course, the tremendous growth nonetheless that you realize that these characters are about to go through, right? Again, I mean, I enjoyed the fact that I got more out of it, like I said. So, for example, just that conversation with Hannes where he's talking about Eren's dad and how much he's done for the city. That's just like a small detail. Obviously, understanding who these people in the survey corps are that are showing up with, Keith there, who later on we realize, like, oh shit, that was Keith. I think it was in the bystander episode. Eren remembered that it was actually Keith there that he saw, I think, right? And Erwin, of course, was alongside of him as well, who, I can't wait, obviously, as the biggest Erwin fanboy myself. He was always my favorite character. Just to kind of go through his arc again. I also got some fantastic input from the people on Patreon, which was extra just interesting, I guess. I mean, people pointed out, for example, how like Keith was leading the Survey Corps at this point, and it wasn't Erwin doing it, right? Like he would later. And people basically, told me like it's pretty much assumed that with Keith having that mental breakdown there that he did to the one woman who was asking about Moses, right? With him being so seemingly upset by it, that's the moment literally where he probably resigned later on and had, asked for somebody else to take over, and that's when Erwin did. So we also got like a glimpse, I pointed it out, of like I said, oh look, it's the people obeying the walls again. I did not realize they already came into play here in the very beginning, but it was actually Pastor Nick who we saw there, right? And again, just another detail that people pointed out, how like, well, we're now in the Zaganshina district in the Outer Ring. I think it was always explained in the way where like the people with higher status lived closer and closer to the middle, essentially, right? So if you moved up, you would automatically get to the higher status classes. And, we see Pastor Nick here in very sort of like, terrible clothing, I guess. Whereas later on, of course, we find him after, now that the wall is being breached, and everybody, like a lot of people obviously die. Some people also make it to the second ring. We will find him there later. With, for example, better clothes and stuff, right? So that's just another cool thing. I also asked, like I wrote a couple things down here, but like the other thing that I asked about, and this is still a pretty big detail, I would say, that I would like to, like I said, it was explained to me, but I still feel like I don't grasp the full scope of it. So I asked about that dream that Eren had at the very beginning of the episode, where he could already see visions of the future, of like his mom being eaten, for example. And we know that at this point in the show, Eren does not actually possess the Attack Titan yet. So he shouldn't be able to see these visions. And second of all, I obviously don't know how the show is going to end yet and what the last, part 3 is going to bring for season 4. But I would imagine that Eren kind of is like the last Attack Titan, or the story ends with Eren, so to call it. So it's not like, Eren is sending these visions to himself either or something. That couldn't have been the case either. So I think the way people sort of explained it was like this was essentially Ymir's doing. And it was just a sign of like her planting her fate into Eren and giving him those glimpses. One of the scenes that we saw in there as well, and I don't know what the significance of it is necessarily, but is, for example, that we saw those toys. And that was the toys that we actually saw Willie Tybus kids playing with, I think. That was, like early in season 4, right? So very fascinating. I still don't quite know what to make of it, and I'm not sure if, people will be able to clarify this even better for me at some point down the line. But it's just been like a big topic that I've been thinking about, I guess. The last thing that I really want to touch on is just Grisha. And I think it's also because I know what's coming up in this episode. Maybe I should get to that first real quick, because I always, for every episode that we're going to do, I want to kind of talk about what I still remember is going to happen. So this is going to be episode 2, which is like I said, that day, the fall of Zaganshina part 2 basically is what it was called as well. And that's the thing, we know that this one kind of very nicely connects to the first episode, with just the second part of the attack playing out. And what do I know still about the second part of the attack? Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is like, okay, we're gonna see the Armor Titan, right? Just burst through that gate or something. And back then it was like, holy shit, who is this guy? And now obviously I know it's Reiner. So that's gonna be cool about it. I know that there were some people fleeing. I feel like they were kind of fleeing by ships or something, but of course going inland. I remember still at the very beginning of the show, when I watched it for the first time, not understanding either how it exactly was going to work, and if we were going to maybe go outside the walls already immediately, whereas that obviously did not happen for a long time, apart from some expeditions or whatever. But it wouldn't be until essentially season 4 that we would truly understand the full scope of the matter, right? So, yeah, but what I was going to say, the one thing that I still do remember is in this episode, I feel it is going to be, where we will see what kind of happens in that time in between the attack and then Eren, Mikasa, Armin joining the Survey Corps. So we see Eren have these visions once again of like what happened with the dad and everything, right? With Grisha. So he suddenly ended up with that basement key. And we see, I think, a little glimpse of him like getting injected or something, right? So that's and that made me obviously... That's actually one thing that I was super proud of, I remember also. Was that like the response? No, not the well, maybe the response episode where I figured that out. That like, oh, Eren had been this Titan because of that injection. That's something that I figured out very early on, or at least before it actually got confirmed to us, and I was super happy about that. But what was I going to say? Just obviously the whole arc with Grisha and how much of a tease it has always been, honestly, up until literally the most recent episodes, where up until that Memories of the Future episode, which was, I think, season 4, episode 20 or something, right? I still was unsure about Grisha's role in all of this. And I kind of felt like Grisha is this looming, overwhelming presence, a person who just knows more, a person who is, and therefore you would confuse that with thinking like a person that is more important actually than Eren is. Same happened with Zeke, right? Where I would always say Zeke is the smartest person in the show. This is why he is more important than Eren in the end. But no, they both weren't. Eren was the most important after all, right? And again, I love that so much, because the question that I asked myself about Grisha during episode 1 was like, did he already know where Eren was going to end up? Or like, again, like why did he have this reaction and stuff, right? But we actually saw in that season 4 episode 20 episode that Zeke and Eren had been revisiting memories that happened before, like literally before this scene in episode 1. So that means that Grisha had already seen these, had already witnessed them being present in some of the scenes and stuff. So Grisha did know. So just Eren talking about that, joining the Survey Corps and everything, that's like what triggered him, because he just realized like, oh, well, I know where this is going to go, I guess, right? And again, I love that so much, because originally as a newcomer to the show, all you think is like, this Grisha, he's gonna have some crazy stuff to reveal, right? And he's gonna, again, I mean, that was obviously the case, and Grisha did obviously know a lot more, and therefore he was a very crucial character, always has been, but not in the way that you would think. Not in the way where you would think that, like, again, like he did have, he was part of the motivation for Eren or something, which wasn't necessarily the case. So, I don't know, I just, man, this show, it's so fantastic how, again, we're doing a rewatch now, and normally I would kind of think that that's maybe even like a cheap thing to do or something, right? But with this show, it's just like, you're not done once you've seen the show. You need to literally go through it a second time and just kind of go over it. And yeah, again, like placing everything back into perspective and then understanding, looking through that lens at an episode like the one coming up now again, and understanding what it was basically saying all this time also to people who did know what was going to happen. So fucking cool. So I think with that being said, I've done an intro that's long enough. We can dive into the episode. Of course, if you enjoy these reactions, you will actually be able to get a bonus episode every week over on Patreon, which is linked on top of the description. Over there, we should already now be quite a bit on the way into season 1. I think we're going to be at like episode 12 now. So definitely go check that out. Again, it's linked on top of the description. Your support is very much appreciated and helps it make it possible for me to make these videos in the first place. Over there's also, of course, full-length reactions. There are the OVA reactions, which I'm still going to do more of those. And there are a couple extra exclusive videos coming up too. Like for every new opening and ending part, I'm going to be reacting to the lyrics and doing some more, analyzing it. And yeah, I'm just super excited for everything that's going to be coming up. So that being said, we are now ready to dive into episode 2 of season 1 of Attack on Titan called That Day. All right. The Titans. I remember finding it so cool how we got these, this like little bit of backstory here. The walls, yeah. Wow, they even show like 3 females in the logos, right? Knowing now that those are like Amir's daughters, that's actually fascinating too. It's so weird to me how, again, like they did wipe their memories, but then some of these historic details, like they're still there, literally open for everybody to see. But I guess, again, without context, you just can't know. So, wow, I can't get over that. Yeah, because if I'm saying it right, I hope I am. I mean, the founders and some of the higher up people, I think, also were aware of the truth, essentially, right? They were just protecting it. But so yeah, that's so fascinating. Yeah, that's actually the question that I have. Or is it only really the founder who keeps truly understanding the full scope of it all? Yep, just the aftermath. Punished. That's actually funny too, how they kind of look at that as like being punished when it kind of is, right? That's also how literally the founding Titan herself looked like it, looked at it. What she said, Frida, right? About how people, kind of deserve to be punished as well, I think. Yeah, to be honest, I wouldn't like having a guy like that just shouting that out as it's happening. I'd be like, screw you, dude. You deserve that. Oh, man. I'm just laughing at Mikasa's typical reaction. You lack the strength, you said, yeah. That's not what he wanted to hear in that moment. Yeah, it is actually interesting how Hannes he just dipped. Once he saw the side of that Titan, he's like, yeah, actually I'm just not gonna do this. Oh shit. Was that her parents being killed? Never realized she saw that. Damn, she's also getting these visions. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, with that city setup, you must kind of just feel like prey. Yeah, these garrison guys have no idea what's about to be coming for them, do they? I'm pretty sure this is about to be where Rhino comes in. Is this like all they have, just this one boat? Yeah, right, I remember they just decided, obviously, to just say it's... Man, how much does it suck? I think I literally said that, but like to stand there in the front and realize that like you were so close to making it out. Man, in that case, Eren and Mikasa actually got lucky. Yeah. Who decided to close it? Just some random guy, I guess. Yeah, and Hannes tried to prevent it. Yeah. Well, I know what's happening. Oh, you gotta love that tease actually, just showing the foot there. Wow, I completely forgot about this epic introduction actually. They're like, who the hell is this? I bet I must have felt the same. I don't recall. I forget, but what do the guys here, what does their equipment compare like to the other nations? I'm pretty sure this equipment is way worse even, right? Man. It's so crazy how he would end up, like, we would end up seeing this Titan for so long in the show. Same with the Colossal Titan, of course, although a little bit less, but... Well, just a new owner, so actually, all the show as well. This soundtrack too is bringing some memories back. To be honest, they might have just kept repeating that for the whole duration of the show, no? I don't know.
100年持った壁がなぜ今になって信じるも信じないも現に船で脱出してきた人間がいるんだしかしまさかウォールマリアの内地にまで侵入されるはずは
It's interesting how we never... I don't think we really see these guys anymore, do we? I know there was some guys there with the fake king, so maybe these guys were like some of them? I'd love to be clued in about that. Yeah. Right, the regrets coming in. And the anger at Hannes. I'm kind of surprised that I feel like Eren never necessarily lashed out too much at Hannes anymore for this or something, right? It's not like he never forgave him for this or something, is it? I don't know. Yep. This is where it all started. Where the motivation began. So crazy to see. Yeah, because they went over this whole time period quick. Okay, now we're gonna see Grisha, yeah. Oh, here we go. Oh, he lost it, but Eren, I mean, you kind of you might have been partially responsible for it. I'm sorry. Someday you'll understand. It was you who asked for it. Insane. And then he ended up with the basement key. Like I already knew. Yeah, so this is just where they get the bunch of the refugees. Oh, was that... Did we just see Annie? Or did I not see it right? Oh, wait, so that guy in the boat, was that Armin's grandpa, actually? Oh my god, yeah. All that he wanted was that revenge. Just going after the Titans. Doesn't want to live like cattle. Like, he hates that idea of living in a situation that he can't do anything about. Damn. Yeah, well, she makes a good point there. And she was specifically instructed by the mom to, you know, take care of him also. Oh my god, yeah, literally his new mom.
数日後、大量の避難民たちは食料確保のため荒れ地の開拓に回された。しかし食糧難は避けられず、翌年の846年、中央政府は
Was that was Berthel and Rhino, wasn't it? Holy shit, Rhino looked young.
人口の2割に相当したが、生存者はわずか百数十名。
Wow, only just over 100?
残された人々の食料不足はわずかながらに改善された。
Right, I remember that line. I'm finding it so morbid. We have a saying here in Dutch, I don't think it works in English, but like one person's dead is somebody else's bread or whatever. That's basically what it is. Time to... oh yeah. They're always by his side. But okay, Mikasa chooses that because of Eren, but why does Armin choose it? Here we go. The misfortune. Betray you bastards. Well, Eren won't like hearing that. What's up, Sean? Marco? No, these guys. Wow. Historia. What? Krista now, right? Awesome. Just puts a smile on my face seeing this again. Such nostalgia already. Love it. I really love the way this show actually quite subtly sometimes presents certain things without spelling it outright to you. And therefore, I myself as well, I wasn't quite sure in the moment if what was happening, I was interpreting it right. And then I realized just scrolling back through it, oh yeah, that definitely did happen. Like, for example, and I think I remember even people calling it out to me back when I was watching these early episodes. But like Armin actually, in this time span that they talked about where they had these, refugees go out and stuff, Armin actually lost his grandpa there, right? So he traveled with his grandpa originally, and we even see the scene where the grandpa gives him the hat, and then later on, just 2 minutes later, essentially, a lot of time has passed by, and we see Armin there actually crying to his hat, which has obviously indicated that the grandpa actually was one of the victims, and also does help to explain that question that I asked there at the very end, like, why did Armin choose to join, I guess, I don't know if it necessarily explains it, but why did Armin choose to join the Survey Corps along with Eren and Mikasa? Because for Eren, it's very clear, obviously. It's a matter of revenge here in the beginning of the show with the situation that happened to him. With Mikasa, it's clear where she feels this, protectiveness over Eren, and she just likes him. And again, this is all the stuff that, of course, we've been diving into during the whole course of the show. And it could also have to do with it simply being... with her being, that Ackerman in that family. But with Armin, then the question becomes a little bit more complex, I guess, of like, again, why did he join? Was it also just a matter of revenge, just like Eren, but in Armin's case for his grandpa? Or, I'd imagine it was a little bit more ideological or something, or like just to protect people or something, that seems more to be what Armin would be doing it for. But I'd love to have people like give me their insights on that. I don't know if there's like a specific answer that's generally accepted regarding this, or if it's more of a discussion matter that everybody has their own sort of ideas about. But I would love to know about that for sure. Again, I've I almost missed it there in the scene where, like, I literally pointed out, wait, was that Annie just now? I wasn't even sure. I thought I had looked away or something, but we did see it there just for like a second. And also in one of the later scenes, not in the Survey Corps, but before that still, we also, it was Berthold, and Reiner looked almost unrecognizable with how young he was there, but it was, I'm pretty sure, Reiner as well, right? It's also because, again, like at this point, they were much younger than they were later on when we... got to see them in the Survey Corps. Some years had passed, right? So it's just awesome to see that. Again, like a couple of other things, but the scene, I'm mainly just always bringing up the things that I'd like to get input about, or that I'm still a little bit unsure about, right? Because we saw some higher up people there discussing the matter of Zaganshna being attacked, and none of these characters, I would think they were... I think originally I thought they would come to play a much bigger role, but they never did. Of course, the king and the Fritz bloodline and everything got to play a much bigger role later on. And there were like some guys tied to that, so you could talk again about Pastor Nick and the people obeying the wall. And of course, there's Kenny, and there's some other guys that really became very present in season 3. But the some of the close people giving advice and whatever, right? Like, there were more people in on it, but we never really saw them. So I wonder if the guys that we saw here, if they were part of that. If some of these guys here were actually guys that we kind of saw by the fake king side or whatever back then in season 3, or not. And other than that, what else is there for me to touch on? Again, it's just like, it's great to see that original introduction to the Armored Titan at a point where you have no idea yet who he is and why there's these Titans that look different from all the other ones, the more human-looking ones. It's cool to see Eren just talk about his very simplistic, at this point, motivation and wanting to kill the Titans, where he would later come to find out that there was a whole different cause for the situation, obviously, or like the Titans weren't what they appeared to be, at least, the human ones and stuff. Well, actually, also the other Titans, right? Again, it's so much to keep track of if you want to be 100% accurate with everything that you're saying about this show. Because then you have to think back like, wait, no, that doesn't make sense either. All these Titans are sus. And there's something up with them. But what a great episode to see for a second time once again. I already can't wait for the next one, because it's so funny, but I definitely remember that I looked at episode 3 and 4 more as like filler back when I watched it. But I think now it's just gonna be a feast of like recognition, right? It's literally just going to be, oh, look, it's this character's first line, and it's this character's first line. We already saw brief glimpses of them here. Historia, and, again, Reiner Berthold, right? Annie, we saw there. We're going to see Sasha and the potato. I think we might even see Amir, right? Like the other Amir, obviously. You know which Amir I'm talking about. So all of that, I'm just super eager to see once again. So for now, I hope you all enjoyed my reaction here, my re-reaction to Attack on Titan Season 1, Episode 2. Of course, over on Patreon, you will be able to get a bonus episode from me every week with these rewatch reactions, and we will also already be over on Episode 12. So you can go check that out right now, catch up on the next 10 episodes immediately. And join us for the extended schedule that is linked on top of the description, of course, along with full-length reactions if you want to see me react to the entire episodes. OVAs, a couple extra bonus videos that I do every now and then, like reacting to the opening and endings. And then for now, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I look forward to seeing you back in the next episode.